Hey everybody, it's Dan coming at you with another flip through. I'm calling this the funny pages for now until I come up with a better idea. I read a book, record, comic, tape, CD, movie, you name it. If it's old media, I probably got it. And I'm in sunny, scenic Ballston Spa, New York. Come by, say hi. Open Wednesday to Sunday. So, without further ado, let's look at a very weird comic book from Marvel. This came out in 1984, and this is a strange thing that Marvel never really repeated. This is called the Marvel Fumetti book. Um, Fumetti, for those who don't know, is well, in Italy, that's just kind of what they call comics, but in the US, it's taken on the meaning of basically photo comics. So, comics made out of pasted up and rearranged photos. There were a lot of examples of these kinds of comics, but they usually turn up in, like technically a lot of pornographic magazines are technically fumetti. Uh, Or some other fumetti. Sometimes, like directions in books, it'll be a sequence of photographs with text on them. Anyway, this is a thing Marvel did once. It never did it again. It was $1, so I believe this was actually slightly. I think the average price of a comic for Marvel in '84 would have been 75 cents, but yeah, I'm about 90% sure that it should be 75 cents, which is weird because this is all in black and white. It is very poorly printed, but you get to see young versions or pictures of a lot of famous Marvel creators when they're young. Stan's not exactly a spring chicken on the cover here, but look at Chris Claremont. Look at Walt Simonson. Denny O'Neil looking kind of like that guy that's in a bunch of German movies from the 30s. Paul Smith, who's got sunglasses, looks kind of like a wild child. John Byrne, looking very distinguished. Jim Shooter, looking like the lost fifth Beatle. Bill Mantlo, Al Milgrom, Dave Cockrum. What a lineup! And there's more. And you get that like awesome Spider-Man costume they used to use all the time back then, like all those VHS releases of those god awful early '80s Spider-Man cartoons. They would always have a little bumper at the beginning with like a dude dressed in that outfit in this like really dramatically shot thing that was I think it led to the production logo. I have those downstairs. I could look at that. So I've had this book for a long time. It is pretty beat. You're gonna see some pen marks. You're gonna see some tape. Uh, but it's still plenty readable, and there's still a lot of fun to be had here. So here we have a bunch of people from the Marvel office. Uh, and these are the editorial department, and you got Archie Goodwin, Danny O'Neill, Larry Hama, Luis Jones, and yeah, and you got very young looking Jim Shooter, and he's introducing the book, and we can see that on the glossy paper, these photographs produce, I don't want to say great, but they look decent enough. And on this newsprint, dear Lord, this looks bad. Um, some of the strips have some fun with it by introducing like really neat kind of DIY camera effects, like little special effects, which this kind of printing makes a little easier to do. You know, it's sort of like on 50s TV because picture quality was so low. Uh, you could do like optical illusions a lot easier because you didn't have to really show a whole lot. So that's the most fun part of the book. Most of these strips are kind of written as a series of dad jokes, or sometimes I kind of wonder if they took the pictures first and then just kind of shuffled them. So we got Jim Shooter telling all the Marvel editors to get into a human pyramid, and that's uh, that's kind of it. I don't know if that was like a normal thing at the Marvel offices in 1984, but we have documentary evidence it happened at least once. And there's something kind of like spectral and kind of a little eerie about just how poor the picture reproduction is here. They look like they're in the 19th century, and I think like they shoot most of this. It must be like an empty room in the office because there's just nothing in there and there's just a blank wall. And here's Spider Man, and he goes around and introduces you to the the editors and some of the writers who worked at Marvel Comics at the time. And this is a fun one. You got a bunch of visual effects. You got. I don't know how well this is going to reproduce on camera, but Mark Grunwald and Mike Carlin floating in the negative zone or outer space, or I guess whatever your interpretation is. The editor of Alpha Flight isn't there, and the room's just. I think it's just like a Thomas Kincaid style painting of like a room with a bunch of snow in it, and because it's in this like super grainy black and white, that's wild. Um, Doctor Octopus effect with the Danny Fingeroth and Bob Denatol. I don't remember Bob Denatol. Everybody else in here, I remember seeing their name a lot in comics I read when I was a kid. Danny Fingeroth, he shows up in here a lot. He wrote not my favorite Spider-Man comics from the early '90s. I don't know that we're gonna look at those anytime, but US1, that is one we might look at. US1 is the first and only trucker superhero. He got 12 issues. They're very bizarre. And here's, yeah, here's Ralph Macchio, I believe, or Bob Harris, I'm not 100% sure, in a truck, photoshopped with part of a door in front of it, right in US1. So I guess he's sort of like a method actor when he writes like trucker superhero comics. Um, and Nascenti and Luis Jones having a like astral plane magic fight like the New Mutants. That's a neat picture. And here's a guy sort of dressed like Doctor Octopus coming after Spider-Man. And here's just like a reproduced piece of art with a bunch of Marvel characters like they were in the elevator, but there's not really any effort taken to bring them into the third dimension. And the writing in this is pretty weak. This is sort of like an ad zine. Um, I don't know who the market for this would have been. I guess like the most diehard of diehard Marvel fans. I can't imagine this is a super common book unless they overprinted it. And the photos in this one were done by Vince Coletto, which shows that he was a much better photographer than he was an inker. So we got more Jim Shooter commanding the bullpen in this weird empty room, and he makes him go into a human pyramid again. And Stan shows up, and he's complaining about what they've done with the Marvel superheroes, and he's like, "Alcoholic Iron Man, dead vampires, Beta Ray, what's his name? Mohawks, knock it off already. I have spoken." Yeah. And it's goofy. Mike Carlin wrote most of these. And I don't remember. I don't know if they ever gave Mike Carlin a monthly book. I think they mostly had him write like little spot things. Like I think he wrote a few of those Rick Parker one panel comics that would show up in the bullpen bulletins in the early 90s Marvel books. And here's one where they try to convince the female employees at the Marvel office to participate in a wet t shirt contest. And then they dump a bunch of water on, I want to say it's Jim Shooter. Um, yeah, and then we have big I think it looks really good when they do the straight up just white against the mush of the photograph, so like that splash sound effect bubble lettering I think works fairly well. Here's a really stupid one. I guess Bill Mantlo must have had a reputation for writing very fast, and it's just he writes really fast, and then there's a picture of him passed out on a bunch of copier paper. Moving on. Um, so this is all the women in the Marvel office convincing Stan Lee that he should do a centerfold pinup. And here's the real reason to buy this comic book. Like, what the fuck are we looking at? What is Stan doing here? Why does the Hulk look furry? Why does this look like a weird porn casting thing? There's just so many questions about this photograph. Um, Buy it, press it, frame it, hang it up on your wall. That's all I can say here. And perhaps I've said too much. Perhaps Stan has it right here. Enough said. Moving on. So here's another kind of lame one. There's a little effect panel, and then, hey, look, Walt Simonson's wearing a Viking helmet. I'm not impressed. And here's the guy who wrote Index to the Marvel Universe, and he's just kind of accumulating books. I can sort of relate to that. Here's Terry Austin doing a Looney Tunes. Again, more strong use of the white against the gray mush. And yeah, he gets pulled into the page, and there he is in Zippy Pig Comics at the end, which I don't think Zippy Pig was. Oh wait, maybe Zippy Pig was that little pig he would draw in like those How to Be an Inker ads and what the. Yeah, so here's another one where John Byrne draws really fast. Ha ha ha, papers on fire. Yeah. This like laser fight in the middle is kind of cool, but otherwise this is kind of weak. They're plotting Spider-Man. They fight. You know, this is some dweeb shit. More Vince Coletta photographs. I'm glad that they kept that man employed for so long. I don't know what else he would have done. There's John Byrne in a Fantastic Four suit. Um, it's fun, it's goofy, it's slight. Here's a guy in a Hulk costume, and it's telling because I literally read this comic 20 minutes ago to look at it for this video, and I'm still kind of commenting on it like I forgot half of it. Oh yeah, okay. So the Hulk rampages in the Marvel offices, and then the secretary at the office orders him 30 burgers and 10 milkshakes, and then he's very happy, and they walk out of the office together. I kind of like how it looks like the Hulk's dancing. Like the costumes definitely up the weird photo factor, which is really the only thing sustaining this book, if we're being completely honest. A neat little Ghost Rider transformation effect. More terrible dialogue. Mike Carlin. I mean, granted, what is Mike Carlin given to work with here? But I don't remember. I should look into Mike Carlin because I feel like he comes up a lot in Marvel Comics for like how little um like large format produced work he has. Um, John Byrne in a Fantastic Four suit again. And these are both Coletta pages. Here's Paul Smith on a motorcycle. He runs out of gas and he wonders if he has enough dimes to get home. I think Paul Smith may not have shown up for the photo shoot, and this is them poking fun at him because we never see his face. He's got a motorcycle helmet on all the time. Maybe he had like a thing for riding a motorcycle. I don't know, but he did draw some very good issues of X-Men. And here's Denny O'Neil jumping out the window because he's getting too many calls from the fanboys. And that's all, folks. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, there should be more episodes coming out soon. Uh, like, subscribe, do that good stuff. If you want to subscribe, I'm not making anybody do anything. And be sure to check out our store, Silver Factory Books and Records in Ballston Spa, New York. And yeah, have a great whatever time of day this is.